I don't know. I don't really feel good about this, and I kind of like the fact that every time, a guard doesn't show up, I do see a uniformed officer there. I think it builds goodwill. It's a good role model for the kids. It's just, it's good PR, I think.
Until there's an emergency call and they get pulled off, and then there is no one at that spot.
Well, then that goes back to we must be understaffed, and how can we pay for truck inspections if we don't have enough people to manage crossing guards?
Duly noted.
So, I think that should have been in this council action form.
Duly. Does anyone else have questions? Comments? Captain Moore, thanks. Hang tight. Going to open the floor for public comments. At this time, I'd like to open the floor for public comments to discuss new business item number 4. Or, yeah, 4. If anybody has comments they would like to make about new business item number 4, please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and be heard. Is there anyone that's interested in making public comment? No one coming forward? Would entertain a motion.
I move we authorize the city administrator to enter into a contract with Securitas Inc. for school crossing guard services at an annual cost not to exceed $38,220.
Second.
I have a motion, Freeman, second Harrison, that we authorize the city administrator to enter into a contract with Securitas for school crossing guard services at an annual cost not to exceed $38,220. There's another opportunity for comment or question.
Do we have any idea, or have we checked with our insurance company, which I believe is NPR, whether we will save half or the $38,000 in premiums, which was one of the benefits that we know?
No, we have not checked with them. And as Cheryl said, we didn't say premiums, we said risk assessment, which is very different than premium reduction.
Well, ultimately, it's reflected in premiums, though. If you reduce your risk, your premiums are going to.
Absolutely.
But we don't know how much.
Is there anything else? That being the case,
Just
we've got motion Freeman, second Harrison.
Okay. I didn't know if we needed to amend actually for the description on D, or if we can just assume that that's going to be request made. That we talked about with the current employees.
3D.
We will make that request.
What's the motion as amended?
Motion as amended.
All right. So we have a motion Freeman, second Harrison, to authorize the city administrator to enter into a contract with Securitas Incorporated for school crossing guard services, an annual cost not to exceed $38,220 as amended for section 3D. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
Motion carries. New business item number 5. Authorize the city administrator to appoint Brian D. Faust for Public Works Director. Mary Beth Bush.
Thank you, and thank you for allowing us to walk this on this evening. We do appreciate that. I will explain right up front that the delay was finishing the background of Mr. Faust, giving him the opportunity to talk to his employer, so it didn't put him in a compromising position. So I do appreciate that. Thank you, and thank you for the respect to our applicant. Upon the retirement notice of Dave Green, staff began our selection process. As we have done in the past, and I've kind of been through this several times with you now, but I'll review it briefly again. We advertise for resumes. We go back through to the professional organizations, such in this case through Public Works, through the League of Kansas Municipalities, also through different engineering aspects. So there were 34 resumes that were received. Myself and Cheryl Harrison Lee went through those resumes over and over and over, multiple times. We also did ask assistance of Dave Green before he left if he knew the candidates, if he had some any assistance for us, and he did provide some comments. Upon the final review, our administrator did select 3 candidates to be interviewed. She and I did interview those candidates. We spent a great deal of time with them. We were looking for people who had utility background, were somewhat unique in that not all cities have water and wastewater, and then the ability to work with our electric division as well. Also, with the ongoing push for development and economic development, that we would look for a candidate that would have some of that background and be able to work with our economic and development team, our community development director, and understand the impact from a public works perspective. So following this process, our recommendation tonight, Cheryl's recommendation to the governing body, is to appoint Brian D. Faust for Public Works Director. You have been provided his resume, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
When was this item added to the agenda?
Today.
Did we get an email about that, or I don't remember?
No, sir, you did not.
What time was it added? Today?
Larry, it was sometime this afternoon. Late afternoon.
I just think it's a pretty big decision. You're asking us to approve something and having the information delivered, minutes before. It's not a good process, in my opinion.
And I apologize, and I understand that. The waiting would put it back another 2 weeks and then another month to get someone here. I was willing to take that and walk it on and let you all make that decision. The decision is now yours.
I actually have, I mean, from my perspective, we unanimously, I know there were a couple not here, voted to give our city administrator a pay raise and a 3-year contract. I would assume that by us doing that, that means we have faith in her ability to make these types of decisions. So from my perspective, I'm good with this.
Well, then maybe we need to change the ordinance that says we still approve it. I mean, it's,
Okay.
I mean, it's, if you're asking for my input and you provide the decision-making information, minutes before it's just not enough time to prepare to make that decision. So, I guess, what's the purpose?
Any other questions or comments?
I've good question. It's about the background of the applicant.
Yes.
And I have a lot of faith and confidence in Cheryl's ability to bring forth resumes that are qualified applicants, and so that's not necessarily my deal. But I am looking at the. My understanding is that Mr. Faust was a director of public works. He was director of public works at Paola, and then he kind of took a step back and became a city engineer and went into board work, and is now an assistant director in Raymore. Is that just? I don't understand. Again, I'm looking at this for the first time as well, but I can read and I can get through this and in a pretty short order. It's not like we're getting a 40-page document, but I would like to just get us some ideas from those individuals who were part of the search process. Was there any talk from or citing from the applicant as to why they decided to step back from being a public works director to being more of a I'd like to know that the individual is very comfortable in the public works position, especially the director position, especially given the fact that we are looking at a significant amount of change that's going to be happening in this community over the next few years. So.
And that's an excellent question. Thank you for bringing that up. Mr. Faust was the director of public works and the city engineer for Paola. When his manager came and said, I am really needing a good, solid engineer. I want someone that can work with economic development, and he wanted to have that in his background. So he chose to kind of move laterally over to do engineering and planning, and they kind of did a reorganization, and he chose that. Now, the board position he did simultaneously with his full-time position,
Yes.
so he didn't do that. He helped set up that public utility authority, but he did that at the same time he was working. That wasn't necessarily his full-time job. Yes.
Was that a paid position or not?
I don't know, the board position.
They're usually not.
No, I would say, because it was through his employer, so I doubt it was a paid position, but.
It's also fair to note that the population difference between Raymore and Paola is more than double, I think, so.
Sure.
20,000 population from, I think, 7.5 or
So actually, that would be considered an increase because it's going to